What's up, everyone? Tim Stoddard here with SoberNation.com. How are you? I hope you all had a great weekend. I hope everybody is feeling fantastic on this Monday. Let's jump right into it. I was thinking a lot this weekend on what I wanted to speak about in today's video. And just as I was really like in my head going back and forth about different topics, I got a phone call from somebody that I know that was basically like asking for some tips or some suggestions on what to do for somebody that they thought might need some help, might need some treatment. And you know, I said my piece and I said what I think is important, but after I hung up the phone, I started really thinking like, how does somebody know if they need to get sober, if they need to go to treatment, if they need to get help? And I think it's like, sorry, I could hear her toenails on my floor. I think it's a really good question to ask because it's not a black and white issue. How do you know if you need to get sober? And the best answer that I could come up with, the best realization, and I think the most important realization that people need to have is when you hit that moment, when you feel inside your heart and in your mind and just within your being that I can't do this anymore. And it's a tough thing to say because I've seen people that need to get help and clearly have an addiction problem, and maybe they even like admit that they need to go to treatment, but inside themselves they still have call it a reservation that they aren't ready. They're just not completely ready to go all in on recovery. And it's a tough concept, you know, because I never want to be in a position to tell somebody like you can go to treatment, but there's no point because like you're not going to get sober, because that's not always the case, right? I've seen people who I didn't think were going to make it, and 5-10 years later, like they're doing great. They're living lives of recovery and living happy lives, and that's wonderful. You know, I'm all for that. But the conversation that I'm trying to start with this video is, what is the point that we all hit when we come to the realization, when we just know, I don't want to do this anymore? And I don't know how to define that. I don't know how to say like, to point at it and to say, these are the circumstances when you know. Is it being arrested? I don't know. I got arrested a whole lot, and that was never really a deterrent from me to keep doing what I was doing. Is it being hurt? I mean, I guess for some people it could be. Like, I was lucky that I was never in any car accidents, although I could have been. I was I don't want to say victim. I got jumped twice, actually. Like, I got beat up really fucking bad, and that didn't necessarily stop me. For me, and all I know how to do is speak from my own experience, but for me, I had an experience in my life, and I got to a point where I had to take a real honest look at myself, and I had that whole like looking out the window moment where I saw what I was doing and I saw what I had become, and I just had that internalization where I knew I don't want to do this anymore. And so we all need to get there. For some people, it might be a softer fall. For other people, it might be like a really hard fall. The tragedy becomes that like people die in between that point from, yeah, everything's good, like I'm partying a little bit, I'm a little out of control, but I can handle it, and you know what, I need help. There's a spot in between there for some people that they just don't make it. And that's the tragedy, and that's the shit that keeps us so motivated to rock and roll on Sober Nation the way that we are, because it's my hope and it's my prayer, and it's my like mission to just continue to put messages out there so that every now and then people see it and they say to themselves, I'm not alone. And I think that's really powerful. So to wrap this up, for those that got through the entire video and dealt with my ramblings, thank you, I appreciate you. But like I said, the conversation that I really want to start is, how do you know if you need to get sober? How do you know if you want to get sober? How do you know if you're an addict or an alcoholic? What does it take for you to have that internal realization? And most importantly, this is the real thing that I'm trying to get at. How do you communicate that message to somebody else to maybe ease them into a process that they may not otherwise be open to? All right, let's talk about it. Thank you so much for listening. I'll talk to you guys next week. Have a great week. Happy Monday. Peace out.